Good evening. I welcome you all on behalf of the Foundation for Skill Development, on behalf of the Lions Club of Walkeshwar, Mumbai, uh, and on behalf of the Vidharba Tax Practitioner Association. I welcome you all for the today's session about the Immovable property, which is going to for speaker for the session is very renowned CA Ramaswamy Sahib. I now request CA Alok Bhai Mehta, President of Walkeshwar Lions Club of Mumbai Walkeshwar and Foundations for Skill Development to give opening remarks. Over to you, Alok Bhai.
Thank you, Dilip Bhai. On behalf of the Lions of Walkeshwar, I welcome all of you for this wonderful topic seminar, secure or immovable property. I think this is one of the burning topic in the, you can say, in whole of India, and not only the Indian citizens, but even NRI also looking for this topic and all, because kaise property ko bachaya jaye for litigation and all these things. I think this is one of the topic. And first of all, I thankful to Ramaswamy sir. He accepted our invitation and to join this and to lead this topic. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that. I also welcome our multiple council chairperson, Lion Dr. Mudassar ji, our own chief guest, Lion Dr. Sanjay Turi ji, Director of Foundation for Skill Development, Hiral Shah, my own PDG, our PDG of the Walkeshwar Club, Lion Pradeep Kapadia, from Lion Anil Pandya, who are always with us for all this webinar. From the Sangli, Advocate Kishore Lulla ji, our Sunil Kala ji from the Aurangabad, the whole club of Lions of Walkeshwar, Mr. Divan ji, and also Vinod Maske, the GSTPM Honorary President. I welcome all of you, and really it's a proud feeling that all of are coming together. I also welcome President Lion Rupa Shetty from the other district. So this is a webinar. The concept of the webinar which we have launched is to educate the member in all the field and all, and that is the reason this webinar is going very well. And till now, I think we have completed 24 webinar during this 8th one and all, and we are going much more webinar in future to come. And I really appreciate the member who are joining with us. And I also appeal the member to become a Lion if they are not a Lion member. Be a Lion member, your entire community, wherever your districts are there, and serve the people while we have charity, and the education is also as a charity, and that is what we are doing and all. Thank you once again to all dignitaries, and let us go ahead and all, and let us educate ourselves by this webinar and all. Once again, thank you Ramaswamy ji for your accepting my invitation, and you are leading this topic, one of the most important topic, and I hope that at the end of the session, people will get the benefit of your talks, and that will clear the doubts of many people of the property and all. Over to you, Dilip. Go ahead.
Alok Hemant Walkar sir from Sindhudurg.
Yes, I recognize the Hemant Walkar sir from the Sindhudurg. Sir, just want to inform you that there are many people of the advocates. I think Mr. Sunil Kala from Aurangabad, Kishore Lulla from Sangli, Hemant Walkar from Sindhudurg. So all over the Maharashtra and India, people are joining this type of webinar. And many of them are chartered accountant, advocate in the professional field and all. So thank you so much, Hemant ji, from the Sindhudurg. You are with there. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, Dilip, please go ahead. Dilip, unmute kar. Unmute kar.
Dilip, unmute yourself, please. Nevertheless, there seems to be some issue.
Yeah.
Can I give a remark?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Lions Club. I, Hiral Shah, Director on behalf of Foundation for Skill Development, would welcome everyone here. Ramaswamy sir, your topic is of immense importance here. I would like to just give you a brief. Even in earlier sessions, we had topics like will succession planning, wherein one of the portion would be covered. Yes, definitely. For each of us is worried about the movable and immovable properties that we are holding, and we have to look in for it that anybody else's, any unauthorized person doesn't take that over. We at Foundation for Skill Development are just there to enhance the skills of each of the members and public at large. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. Dilip bhai, over to you.
Thank you, Hiral Bhai. Now I'll request CA Ajit Gokran Sahib Vice President of Vidharba Tax Practitioner Association, to give opening remarks. Ajit Bhai.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. At the outset, I welcome all the dignitaries, particularly the team of Lions Club of Mumbai, Walkeshwar, and Foundation for Skill Development and Lions Club of Mumbai, and the technical support team of MTech Business Solutions Private Limited. I, on behalf of VTPA, welcome all of you to this wonderful discussion on the topic of immovable properties registration. VTPA is rendering services to the tax practitioners all over the Vidharba, all districts, and publishing their newsletter and keeping aware about the developments in tax practices. And this is one of the attempt wherein all the practitioners would come to know about the particular aspects relating to immovable property. This will all the while help our members all over the Vidharba to achieve excellence in every law, and listening to the learned faculties is always a pleasure. I would like once again to thank CA Alok Mehta for his efforts and being associated with us for in almost all the programs, and VTPA is associated with Lions Club. It's a great pleasure. The today's discussion on the topic has already discussed that it is going to add a lot of knowledge for the beneficiaries, for the tax practitioners, and I welcome once again all the dignitaries who have organized this program. With these words, I would like to hand over the proceedings to the organizers. Wishing all the participants a happy learning from CA Ramaswamy P. Seshan, and I'm sure that the session is going to be very interesting and thought-provoking for all the members. Thank you very much. Thank all.
Thank you, Ajit Bhai. Now I will request Anil Pandya, Sahib, Lions Club of Mumbai Corporate, to give an opening remark. Anil Bhai.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. This is Anil Pandya, Chartered President, Lions Club of Mumbai Corporate, and the founder for Lions News India. Our mission is to make these circulations possible as much as possible, reach out to the more and more Lions and to the non-Lions for the benefit of the society at large. And this education series is really doing wonders. It is being streamed by 35 different platforms on their social media, and it is also being viewed, and we are getting a lot of good remarks as a feedback where they are benefiting a lot, and many of the people who are definitely interested even to join the Lionism. So this is really a very good branding exercise even for the Lionism. And Alokji and what he has got a thought and the idea, and we have started doing this. This is our 9th episode. And Ramaswamy ji is our veteran PDG. He has been a seasoned businessman. His inputs will be definitely of a great help to the every member who is part of this webinar. Thank you so much for joining everyone.
Thank you, Anil Pandya Sahib. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce today's learned speaker, CA Advocate Ramaswamy Sahib. Advocate Ramaswamy is a practicing lawyer of Bombay High Court. He is also a chartered accountant from 1984 batch. As a successful chartered accountant, he was practicing for more than 20 years. He is specialized in accounts and audit of construction companies and builders till 2007. As a practicing lawyer, he is specialized in property and civil matter. He is also a retainer for legal matters for some of the leading corporate companies. In the year 1992, He was appointed as a chairman of a leading IT training company in India with more than 150 branches. He also specialized in horticulture and has his farm for growing exotic plants and flowers at Pali near the Khapoli. He is also into high-tech farming using modern techniques like greenhouses, temperature and light control methods for growing for plants. He also set up a modern tissue culture lab using the latest technology for propagation of the plants. He is at present pursuing for his doctorate degree in the area of problem of construction industries with special reference to metros. He He is also in the managing committee of CSI Mumbai chapter. He is also a faculty for a number of social organizations, professional organizations, schools, college on the matters of motivation, taxation, agriculture, finance, and allied subjects. Apart from his professional and private business, he is also an active social worker. He was district governor of Lions Club International District 3231A3, Mumbai. He is also associated with a number of NGOs and social welfare organizations. With this brief introduction, I welcome today's speaker, Ramaswamy Sahib, and I request him to proceed with the proceed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Over
Thank
to
you,
you,
Dilip ji.
Ramaswamy sir.
Thank you, Dilip ji, for
Yeah.
this good introduction. Today's organizer and the hero of the day, Alok ji, who has taken so much initiative of organizing this type of webinars along with Anil ji and the Sales Tax Practitioners Association. This is a great achievement that we are bringing so many NGOs together to come to a common cause, that is learning. I, of course, recognize our colleague Governor Pradeep ji. He is also a colleague governor with me when I was a district governor of 3231E3. Friends, today I chose a subject which is very, very important to everybody in their life. टीवी में एक ऐड आता है, घर तो जिंदगी में एक ही बार बनता है. हम सब देखते हैं कि घर जो है एक सबसे बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी कहा गया है. आई एम स्पीकिंग इन हिंदी बिकॉज आलोक जी हैज मेंशन्ड इन ब्रैकेट हिंदी आल्सो. एम आई राइट, आलोक? So I will be speaking in a mix of English and Hindi.
Both you can.
Yeah. So घर तो जिंदगी में एक ही बार बनता है. So I thought कि why not talk about immobile properties. Immobile properties can be of different types. It can be of a land, it can be a flat, it can be an office, it can be a factory. You know, n number of things come under immobile properties. You have got a lot of investments in your life. When you talk about investments, you talk about shares, you talk about your fixed deposits with the bank, your mutual funds, your jewelry. There are n number of items which you can purchase for your investments. But when it comes to immobile property, there is always a fear. Are we investing in the right property or not? हमेशा हमें डर लगता है. कोई भी प्रॉपर्टी लेने के पहले हम 10 जन को पूछते हैं कि ये खरीदना चाहिए, नहीं खरीदना चाहिए. लेकिन ये राइट एडवाइस कहीं हमें नहीं मिलता. ये प्रॉपर्टी which may be good for me may not be good for you, because it all depends upon your personal choices. Again, when you buy a property, you have to take a lot of precautions. Precautions, when I say, it is governed by so many laws. Like it covers the Transfer of Property Act, it covers the Indian Registration Act, it covers the Stamp Duty Act, it covers the Societies Act, it covers the Bahar Era Act. You know, you call anything that can affect you. The ULC Act in the past, the Town Planning Act, the Local Government BMC Act, the DCR. You know, you have so many laws applicable to a particular property when you purchase. I am also a builder in a small way. I know that if you have to construct a building, you require 27 NOCs from different departments before you start construction of a building. You must be thinking a small thing like a mosquito, मच्छर है बोलते हैं हम कि मच्छर इसका क्या अहमियत है, लेकिन you require a license from or a NOC from the malaria department saying that your particular project is not infected by any malaria, and you have tests of people coming every 15 days to check your construction workers whether there is anybody suffering from malaria. So these are the precautions that a person takes when you go into a real estate. That is the real property when you develop. But when you buy a property, the first thing that comes to your mind is the title of the property. How does the property comes to you? हम तो खाली एक ही चीज जानते हैं कि हम खरीदिया, यानी हमारा एक सेल डॉक्यूमेंट हो गया और हम इसके मालिक बन गए. But there are other ways also by which a property can come into your possession. Like it can be a gift, it can be a succession, it can be a partition, it can be by a court order. So many ways the property comes to people. So when we come to buy a property, we have to look into the past of the property. Generally, it is suggested that you should do a search of the property. What do you mean by search? Search consists of going to the registrars, the government departments like city survey, the Talati office, the collector office, the courts, and finding out whether the property I am purchasing is encumbered or not, or what are the past details of this property. So we carry out generally a search of 30 years when we buy a property. Nowadays, it is all available at fingertips because most of the things are computerized. So you are able to get these details, very quickly. That is, in a week or 10 days, you can get these search reports done. Second thing that we look in the property is what is the type of the property they are buying. Whether it's a freehold property, whether it is a leasehold property, or whether it is a property which is brought by a person and developed under a development right. Nowadays, many of the properties you see in Bombay are developed not under any freehold, but most of them are joint ventures with the landowners and the builders. So it is brought under a development right. So properties can be different types when you purchase. So when you buy a flat or an office or a godown or a industrial estate, you have to first see what is the type of land on which the particular flat or office or our premises is situated, whether it is a lease from the government or whether it is freehold or whether it is under a development right. Third is, when we talk about development rights from the property, you have to see the original title of the owner who has given the rights to the developer. You have to even check who is the developer, what are his antecedents, whether he has been successful, whether he has been in the past had any problems. This, of course, comes in the cases where you are buying a property under construction. But for ready-made plots or ready-made flats, this problem generally doesn't arise. Third thing is the registration. Whenever you buy a property, you may be having the document, but you have to see whether the earlier documents are properly registered and stamped. Whenever it is properly stamped and registered, there is a certificate issued by the registering authority that is called Index 2. Always look for the Index 2. If you have the Index 2, that means the property is duly registered and it has complied with all the requirements of law for registration of that property. Third thing is, you have to, as I said, certain properties must have been locked up. Suppose people buy properties under auction also. When you buy a property on auction, there may be a litigation. So under what litigation, under which court order you are buying this property has to be properly examined before you get into it. Third is the original documents. Many a times हम बोलते हैं कि original document गुम गया है ही नहीं हमारे पास. But never ever attempt to buy a property where the seller doesn't have the original documents. When I say original documents, means it must be the chain of documents. Like if it is a property which has been constructed by a builder, handed over to a society, then you should first look at the first person who has purchased the flat from the builder. Then if he has resold it, then the second agreement, third agreement, whatever the last seller how he has got the title of that property has to be properly examined before you venture into buy a property, whether it is a flat, office, or a godown, or a factory shed. Third is what you have to look at the seller. Who is the seller? Many a times we wonder कि seller के बारे में जानने की क्या जरूरत है. सबसे पहला condition होता है कि whether the seller is a resident or a non-resident. Now you must be asking कि इसमें फर्क क्या पड़ने वाला है, resident हो या non-resident हो. Nowadays there are complex laws dealing with the TDS. Whenever you buy a property, you have to deduct 1% TDS from the sales consideration, which is payable to the seller of the property. And that has to be deposited with the government, with the income tax department. So 1% is the applicable law when it is a resident. When it is a non-resident, the tax rate changes. That I'll discuss later when I talk about non-residency. Third is the identification of the owner. How do you identify an owner? Whether his PAN card, his Aadhaar card, then his passport, whatever he has got, that has to be verified. Third is the type of person who is selling. In many cases, we find that the properties are sold by companies, by partnership firm, by trust, or by society, or by a body corporate or association. So you have to go into the details of the organization which is selling it. Suppose it is a company, you have to see that the company person who is selling it has got the authority to sell it. How do you see whether he has got the authority? You have to ask for the memorandum and articles, then you have to ask for the resolution of the company, do a little search in the ROC and find out who are the directors of the company and find out whether the resolution that is produced before you has got the requisite sanction of the board of directors for selling that property. When it is a partnership firm, you should again have an authority letter of the other partners for selling the property. Third, when it is a charitable trust, you require a charity commissioner's permission for selling the property. So these are the things that you have to verify when you are buying from a corporate or a person other than an individual. Third thing is, certain times you have court orders which allows you to sell the property. So those court orders has to be examined to find out who is the person who is entitled to sell, whether it is the official liquidator or whether it is the court receiver who has got the powers to sell those properties. So look into those details when you have to identify the seller. Third is the very important thing is about the land use. Many times we find that the buildings are constructed. The first thing that has to be seen whether it is an agriculture land or a non-agriculture land. Generally, we find that there are NA orders which permit the land to be converted from agriculture to non-agriculture. Then only there is development possible. The second thing that you have to look for is the zoning. Which zone it comes into. Whether it is a permitted residential zone or if it is a buildable or a non-buildable zone. There are many areas where there cannot be any constructions happening. Like if the land is reserved under the DP plan, development plan, the lands are reserved for gardens, playgrounds, hospitals, fire brigades, schools, colleges. So those are the lands which cannot be, where the buildings cannot be constructed. So this is overall knowledge. I don't expect when it is a society and all title certificates are issued and all. These things need to be understood. But when you go for a first-time purchase from a builder or anybody, you have to ensure that these things are available to you. Generally, the municipality, when it gives the permission, at that time, they look into all these details. But from the academic point of view, you should also understand which zone it comes into. Third is the, sometimes there is a conversion of zone. You must be showing that, suppose a particular industrial zone. In cities like Bombay, nowadays there is no industries being developed. So government gives permission for the conversion of industrial land into residential. So you have to examine whether the requisite permission from industrial zone to residential has been obtained by the builder or not. Next comes the construction approvals. When I buy a flat or a office or anything from the builder, you have to first look from the builder is the sanction plan. The sanction plan is the one which is issued by the BMC or by the the planning authority. In Bombay, there are 3 planning authorities. One is the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, second is the MADA, and third is the Slum Rehabilitation Authority. And in New Bombay, it is the CIDCO and the New Bombay Municipality, who are the sanctioning authorities for the various plans of buildings that are being approved. Secondly, then you have to see whether the necessary infrastructure facilities are available, like the permission for water, permission for electricity, environmental clearances are in place or not, fire safety approval. Every building should have this. Before you invest in the property, you should look for these details, whether these are in place or not. Nowadays, the pollution, even the sewerage and the traffic management NOCs are required, because sometimes you may find that you are buying a property which everything as per plan is there, but when you go to the site, you find that there is no place for you to move inside the property because there are some unauthorized structures standing in the property. So certain things you need to understand, apart from legal also, that you should also do a physical area survey before you venture into any type of invention. Now, very, very important thing that generally people neglect or don't understand is the occupation certificate. Whenever you go for registration, they ask you whether this property has got occupation certificate or not. So occupation certificate का मतलब होता है कि this property or a building has been constructed after complying with all the norms. As I said in the beginning, there are about 27 NOCs which are required for starting the construction. So first that a person gets, the builder gets, is the IOD. Many people think, what is the meaning of this IOD? The IOD means intimation of disapproval. IOD is not sanction. IOD is the government scrutinizes your plan and says, we cannot approve this plan unless these conditions are fulfilled. So it is an intimation of disapproval which comes first. So after you fulfill the disapproval conditions, they say they don't approve because of this condition. After you fulfill that, you get a commencement certificate. Now, commencement certificate also doesn't come as a one certificate. It comes in different stages. Like first you will get the plinth CC, then you will get the CC in stages, like up to 7th floor. If the building is beyond 7th floor, then it requires a fire NOC, because then it comes under high rise. So you get CC also in stages. So in many cases, we find that occupation certificate is also given in stages. Because if it's a multi-storied building beyond 7 stories, then sometimes they give occupation only up to 7th story, because beyond 7th story, there are requirements of 2 lifts. So unless the builder has complied with all those conditions, they don't get occupation beyond 7th floor. So don't look at the occupation certificate, look at the finer details up to what floor they have given the occupation certificate. These are some of the finer points which I think people generally don't look into it. But as in this profession for so many years, I know what are the intricacies that a buyer has to undergo when he buys a flat. Third is the very important thing is the statutory payments. Statutory payments क्या होता है? कि NA tax, property tax, whether it has been paid fully or not. Many times when you go to a building, you find there are some notices, which are pasted on the walls or on the notice board, saying that there are so many arrears of municipal taxes which are not paid. So when you buy a property, when you buy a flat, you are buying with that liability of the taxes which are unpaid. NA tax, of course, now as per the current ruling of the state government, the NA taxes are not being recovered because of a High Court order. But in future, it is going to be a big incidence of NA taxes which is going to come on all the buildings in the future. Or there may be an option that they may drop these NA taxes also. But municipality taxes is definitely a threat. And there are 2 types of municipal taxes, because in many of the cases when I'm talking in reference to Bombay only. In Bombay, there are now cases where these municipality taxes either are charged on the society or they are charged on the individual flats. Because now individual flats are also getting taxes of municipality bills separately. So when you are buying a property, see that the property taxes are fully paid if it is a individual flat municipal taxes that are being paid. Secondly, that what also you have to look into apart from the statutory payment is the electricity, whether the latest electricity bill you should ask for to find out whether the electricity payments have been done. The gas, now that the pipe gas is there, whether the dues of the pipe gas are cleared, whether the telephone charges. So earlier days there were when there were no mobile phones, even the old telephone bills, if there are arrears, they will not give you a new connection in the same premises. Then there will be the internet cable, what are the other utilities that you are using. You need to see they are all cleared before you take possession of the flat. Now you have to look for the encumbrances. Now, when I say encumbrances, we take maximum precautions. When we buy a property, we look into all those details. But there must be some encumbrance, there must be some dispute in the family or something which we may not be aware, which cannot come out by the search or by doing this physical examination of the documents. So it is advisable that you can give a paper notice. Once you give a paper, because you'll find in newspapers, there are paper notices coming even for purchase of flats. So that means if there is some hidden liability which is not known to you or which is not known to even to the society or to the neighbors, it can come out during the time of public notices. So ensure that you also give a paper notice in 2 newspapers, one in English and one in the vernacular newspapers, to find out and ensure that this property what you are buying is totally clear and is clearly a marketable title. Then one more thing is, as I told you, that you have to ensure that the physical survey of the property, look around the surroundings, whether all the surroundings with a proper access, proper open spaces are being provided or not, and whatever amenities, what generally the builders, when you buy for the first time, they promise so many amenities, whether all those amenities are present or not. So these are some of the things that you need to look up when you buy a property for the first time. Nowadays, of course, with the ensuring of this RERA, things are becoming much simpler and more transparent. So generally, whenever the builder applies to the RERA for registration, he is also supposed to disclose, along with the title certificates and the agreement copies, he is also supposed to give all the pending list of litigations that he is having in that property. It becomes very, very transparent for the buyer to understand what risk he is taking as far as the purchase of this property is concerned. Friends, now many people, they go for housing loans. When you go for housing loans, you have to ensure whether the earlier person has taken a loan or not. If he has taken a loan, your job becomes much simpler, because the compliances or the documents that is required for you to apply for the housing loan is much easier. Ensure that the loans are fully paid and that certificate from the bank is issued. And generally, whenever a bank gives a loan, or when you also apply for a loan, it is the society who has to give a NOC to the intending buyer or the seller that all the bank loans have been cleared, and the society, the bank gives a letter to the society of the satisfaction of the charge. So ensure that papers are in place whenever there is an earlier bank loan, and whenever you apply for a bank loan also, you ensure that all the papers of title of the property are with you, and the earlier original documents are with you, so that it is easier for you to ensure that you get a loan from the on the property. Another important thing is about the quality of construction. हम हमेशा प्रॉपर्टी लेते टाइम ये चीज तो हम लोग स्ट्रक्चरल ऑडिट आजकल कंपलसरी हो चुका है. So ensure that there is a structural audit of the society done. If possible, try to get a copy of that. You may not understand many of things as a layman, but it is always, you can always look at the finer print or the concluding demand, which always specifies what is the condition of the structure that the building is as on today. Now, whenever you buy a property, it may be for your self-use, or you may be thinking of doing some resale, renting it, or you may be thinking of as an investment for the future. That future I will resell this property and make some good money out of it. So you also have to understand the rental market in the area, what rate the rents are being offered in those areas, and what are the type of people, because in certain societies, you must be finding that there are restrictions on the type of people to whom you can give on rent. Like in Bombay, especially, you have, some communal societies which say you cannot give to this community, you cannot give to that community. Ensure that whenever you are buying, whether that impediments do come in the way of when you rent a flat. Secondly, of course, resale, you have to understand the market rate. Now, सबसे बड़ा जो फैक्टर आजकल जो आता है रीसेल में आता है कि whether it is a first time property or a redeveloped property. You must be asking what is the meaning of this first time property and redeveloped property. If the building is around 25 to 30 years old, then it means the FSI that is consumed is very, very minimal. But when it's a redeveloped property, the FSI is already fully consumed and there is no further scope of that building getting redeveloped again. Nowadays, you must be aware that whenever the building goes for redevelopment, you get some extra area over and above what you have having at present. It ranges from 20 to 40%, depending upon the type of area and the type of builder with whom you are able to negotiate. So friends, these are some of the aspects of investment in a property. Of course, you have to also understand the procedure of the societies. When you go for purchase of property, some of the important things that you look into the society is whenever you buy a property in the society, it is important that you should get your name in the society's records. That is one of the important things. Now, there are some procedures for entering your name in the records of the society. First thing is that you should write, the transferor should write a letter to the society about his intention of selling the property. Then the transferee has to give a letter to the society about his intention of purchasing. There are, there are forms which are there in the Societies Act, like Appendix 21, 22, which come in the Societies Act, your bylaws, if you refer of the society, you'll find these forms. Then there is application after you have concluded the deal, after you have registered your document, and after all the formalities are complete, then you have to apply to the society for transfer of shares. When I told you about the title of the society, property, you should also look for the original share certificate of the society. Now, when you go for the transfer of shares, you have to make an application for transfer, that is in Appendix 21. Then you have to also make an application for membership, because the earlier member was the member of the society. Now he has to resign as a member and you have to apply for the membership of the society. And secondly, there should be an undertaking which is generally given to the societies about the intended use of the property. And secondly, one more undertaking that generally when you have a dependent, you have to give an undertaking to the society about the nominee who is going to pay for the maintenance and all, in case a person is not financially capable of paying for the maintenance of the society. Then there is an intimation by the society about admitting the member. They generally put it in the general body, give an approval, and then you get a approval from the society approving all these forms. And finally, a letter is issued and the shares are transferred in your name. That means you officially become a member of the society. And of course, there is a transfer fee. Transfer fees will generally it is not more than 25,000, but different societies have different rules. Some charge it as a building repair fund, or they charge it under some other corpus fund, and they take the money based on the square feet, like per square feet so much money. That is of course not legal, but if you have to buy a property, you have to go through their system and finally get admitted as a member. Friends, what are the things that you need to do after buying the property? You have understood the system of buying the property, securing the property and everything. Now, what are the things that you need to do after you buy the property? Now, most of the societies have different policies. You have to understand the society's policy for the repairs. Some societies say you have to deposit so much money, unless the debris and all what you generate when the repairs, when you buy a new house, generally you go for some modification. So you have to understand the procedure of the society for carrying out the repairs. They may ask you to deposit some money with the society for removal of the debris and giving the repair permission. Second is, you have to change your name in all the utility bills, like electricity, your gas. You have to get your name changed. Yeah, generally, I would advise that you take a power of attorney from the seller himself, that you can use the specific power of attorney for change of name in certain cases. Third is, do not carry out any structural alterations in the society, because many times people have a habit of breaking the columns and beams, which will make the structure weak. Don't do that. Now, very, very important thing nowadays is very, very controversial is the nomination. Whenever you buy a property, it is your interest that after you, who is going to enjoy this property. So most of the people, societies have a procedure of giving a nomination form. So the nomination form is generally filled in triplicate. So when you submit this form to the society, you will get back one copy acknowledged by the secretary or the chairman of the society, and 2 copies are retained with the society. The society in the next general body meeting, in the managing committee meeting, will approve the nomination and put the notifications or put the notings in the nomination register, enter the serial number and the page number in which your nomination is recorded, and return you the second copy with those endorsements back to you. That is a proof that your nomination has been recorded in the society's records. Now, many people ask me whether is nomination a legal document for transferring the property in the name of the legal heirs or the nominee. According to me, it is no. Because the nomination only transfers the shares of the society in your name, but the property to be transferred has to go through the process of registration or through the court. Generally, when a person dies, the property doesn't automatically go transfer by nomination to the legal heir or to the nominee. The nominee holds the shares and the flat as a representative of the legal heirs. Unless a person has made a will, I think the last time we had discussed in the wills and testamentary succession, that once a will is made, the will has to be probated in the court. So that procedure has to be undergone for you to be a legal heir, or when you die, your legal heirs will get the property only through court procedure, not through nomination in the society. That person will not be able to sell that property as a nominee of the original holder of the property. I think I'm making it clear. If you have got any question, please tell me. Nomination only gives you a temporary membership or a provisional membership. It doesn't give a permanent membership of the society to sell the property. So this is one of the controversial judgments. Even Section 30 of the Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act specifies that you should get a succession certificate or a probate for you to transfer the property in the name of the legal heirs. Friends, these are some of the important things what I thought is important when you buy a property. Nowadays, there is one more issue, which is a burning issue. I think many of you will agree, is about the convents in the society. Now, you all know that when the builder purchases the property, he has a development right, or he must be a owner of the property. We don't know how he has got the title of the property. But many a times, the societies don't get conveyance of the properties for years together. That is the main intention, that the builder wants to get the rights of redevelopment also for the future, so that the society members come back to him and he gets the rights. But of course, the Maharashtra Act is now very clear, which says that the deemed conveyance can be done in case the builder has failed to give the transfer in the name of Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act has given a right to the members of the society to get deemed conveyance. Now, how do you get the deemed conveyance of the society? If your society doesn't have conveyance, then you should apply for deemed conveyance, which is a very, very easy procedure. Even if the builder was to go for a conveyance, it would have been very, very lengthy, and it would practically impossible as on today, because as the years pass, the original owners of the property, they may have died, and the legal heirs has to be brought on record, and only the legal heirs and through probate or succession can be brought on record. Only they can convey the property in name of the society. But those things have become very cumbersome and very difficult. So the Maharashtra Ownership Act has introduced the system of deemed conveyance. Under the deemed conveyance, the procedure is very easy. The society has to make an application to the Deputy Registrar, Cooperative Society, for make an application for the deemed conveyance. What you require is a certified copy of a resolution by the society requesting them that we want to go for deemed conveyance. Second is, you should have the copies of the original agreement of any member between the original builder and the proposed member who is the first time buyer, or if you have a original builder's agreement which is registered, that will give the title of the property, how it was there in the past. Second, you should have the 712 extracts, whatever is called as the Satbara, if you all are aware of what is Satbara. Second is the property card, then is the NA order or the NA taxes bill, then the municipal taxes bill. Then you should have the latest known address of the builder, because we need to send some letters to the builder asking him to give the conveyance. Once he fails to do that, then deemed conveyance, the process is started. Then you should have the registered executed agreement between the landowner and the builder, because in many cases it may not be available, but of course the search of the property reveals those documents, and we can get certified copies of these documents from the registrar, deputy registrar. Second, you should have the title search report of the last 30 years. Next is the location plan, it should be there, city survey plan, layout plan approved by the local authority, the IOD certificate issued by the BMC, the occupation certificate, the completion certificate. Now you must be asking, what is the difference between an occupation certificate and a completion certificate? Earlier days, we always be happy with the occupation certificate. But in certain cases, the occupation certificate may also be conditional. So it is only the building completion certificate, BCC, what we call it as, that is the final documentation. Generally, it's not available, but very few builders get the BCC and complete the process. Friends, then the list of the flats and shops or garages, what are there in the society, then certified copy of the BMC bill, the architect certificate showing that the FSI and all is as per the permissible laws. Then you should have the latest, you must have sent legal notices to the builder in the past asking for conveyance. Those copies should be available, and an affidavit by the secretary or the chairman of the society saying that whatever is stated is true and correct. Once you submit these documents, then the deputy registrar of society of the concerned ward, wherever your building or flat society is situated, they will give an order for deemed conveyance. Once you get the order for deemed conveyance, you have to approach the stamp duty authorities or the deputy registrar for the adjudication of the stamp duty. Because if any of the flat or shops or any of the premises is not paid the stamp duty, the last document where the stamp duty is not, that deficit stamp duty has to be paid. So that you have to ensure that whatever documents you are having for the deemed conveyance, where the adequate stamp duty is paid or not. So once we ensure all that, then after the adjudication is done, then you can get the deemed conveyance. After getting the deemed conveyance order, you can go to the city survey office, you can go to the Talati office and get the property transferred in the government records in your societies. Friends, this is the procedure for deemed conveyance. If your society has not done deemed conveyance, please ensure that you go for it immediately, because times are not far away when, like somebody may mortgage your property, or you may do some sell off the rights of the property without your knowledge also. बहुत कुछ हुआ है past में. That's why the government has brought out this regulation. We ensure that you have the deemed conveyance of all the property wherever you are staying. I think one more subject, if subject to time, Alok, I would like to touch on the redevelopment of properties also, if somebody is interested in understanding.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir. It's one of important topic. Please go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
आज सबसे बड़ा हॉट टॉपिक जो आजकल हो रहा है वो है रीडेवलपमेंट ऑफ प्रॉपर्टीज. अभी जो I am also talking not only legal, but I am also talking from the experience of a builder and also as a lawyer, chartered accountant, and everything mixed together. So redevelopment, it has become a very interesting topic because after the DCR 2034 is out, DCR 304 got implemented in 2017 and it came into effect from December 2017, which has brought a lot of soaps to the existing buildings. Because now even you find that you have earlier used to have only one FSI. After that, the government came out with a scheme of TDRs, and after the TDR, the FSI went up from 1 to 2. Then you have 35% of fungible FSI, so it came from 2 to 2.7. And nowadays, there is a cluster development also, where you get up to 4 FSI. Cluster development is possible in city areas where the plot area is about 4,000 square meters, and in suburbs where the area of the plot is 6,000 square meters. It can be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 more buildings which can come together and go for a cluster development under 33(9) of the DCR rules. So friends, a lot of things are coming up. So what you need to do before you go for a redevelopment of a property. First thing, as I said, why I spoke about deemed conveyance, first thing you should have a conveyance of the property. Without that, it is not possible for you to go for redevelopment. Second is you have to get a structural audit of your structure or the building where you are staying and where you're planning to go for redevelopment. Get the structural audit of the building and make a report out of it. Third thing is your initial process of redevelopment is you should call an SGM. I think you all must be aware of the special general body meeting, which generally the society is called. So give a notice to the secretary of the building that about 1/5 of the members are willing to go for redevelopment. So once that is submitted within 1 month, the secretary of the society has to call for SGM. In the SGM, after giving 14 days notice, the members of the society, after having a proper quorum, can decide on the redevelopment of the property. Of course, 3/4 of the majority members' consent is required whenever you go for redevelopment of the society. After you decide for redevelopment, you have to appoint an architect or a project management consultant for doing the feasibility report for your property. So appoint a architect or a project management consultant for your society who can undertake the feasibility report for the redevelopment. When I talk about feasibility report, is the maximum area that you can FSI potential that you can exploit in your area. And now, of course, the FSI, of course, varies from as per the width of the road nowadays. Now, it is not very consistent that you should get 2.7 or 3.2. Depends upon the width. The 18-meter the roads, the different FSI is there. For 30-meter road, the different FSI is there. So go by 27-meter road, the different FSI is there. So go by that feasibility report and decide on the feasibility of going for a redevelopment. So once we get the redevelopment feasibility report, then again you have to call an SGM. In the SGM, inform the deputy registrar about the with your feasibility report, your conveyance, and your structural audit. Then he will give an order. You will call for a special SGM. You call it under section 79A. So section 79A, you will call a meeting. And once you get an approval of the society members in that meeting, you can start the process of redevelopment. So once you decide upon the redevelopment, then you decide upon the architect or the PMC to invite tenders for the redevelopment. The tenders can be generally given in a newspaper, or it can be locally circulated also with all the members. With their known people, they can call for a tender. Now, once you get the tender shortlisted, then you can appoint a builder who can plan for the redevelopment. Of course, selecting the builder is the most crucial thing. Nowadays, like many people we find are without homes, after going for redevelopment, because builders, they take up the project and afterwards they are not able to complete the project. So I would suggest that you only select from the first 10, top 10. Don't go for any compromise because he's giving more area. Don't select that builder. Select the best of the builder, even if he gives a lesser area, but see that he's giving the possession at the right time, and he has already fulfilled the commitments in the earlier development work whatever he has taken. Of course, the procedure is little cumbersome, and it takes a lot of time. It is generally 1.5 to 2 years before actual redevelopment, the tenders, the builder's appointment, and everything takes place. Now there are various options available to the societies now, because now there is a special scheme called 3311, under which there can be more FSI, and there is a scheme under which your FSI can go up to 4, and with fungible it can go up to 5. That is under which you are under an SRA scheme where you merge 2 schemes, and that is again a different process. Somebody who is interested in 3311 and all, we can generally advise them how these projects are undertaken. It is little tricky, but people do get more FSI. And of course, the cluster development again is a very good concept, where more building where in a dilapidated condition, they can come together and they can go for cluster redevelopment, where also again the FSI is much higher. So this is what I would like to talk about redevelopment. Now, one more thing is, I forgot to tell you about when you buy a property, you have to also see in certain cases, like when you get a property under that MADA auction and all, when you in the lottery, when you got the LIG group, the MIG group, please ensure that they come with a condition that these flats cannot be transferred for X number of years. So don't get into the price offers. Check whether the seller has completed the prescribed number of years of non-transferability, and then only you go into a deal for purchase of that property. So these are some of the important highlights of securing your investments in an immovable property. So friends, if you have any question, answers, I am willing to answer. Again, Alok, once again, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity of increasing my knowledge and enabling you to share my knowledge with all of you.
Entirely pleasure of mine. It was really a wonderful lecture. First of all, I talk to the audience first. If anybody have any questions, yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah. Please,
Yes,
please.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a question.
one by one. First, I will move it to Mr. Kishore Lulla. Yes, raise the hand. Then, Rupa, you can go afterwards. Yeah, Mr. Lulla.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
go ahead.
Yes, sir. I want to suggest 2 things, sir, that we should take one thing into consideration, that is the liability under the Goods and Services Tax Act.
Correct.
Because nowadays there is 18% tax on the development rights, as well as GST is on TDR, transfer of development rights. And this is applicable if a builder takes the land from a landowner or from a society for redevelopment of property. And very hardly few builders and landowners know that they have to pay this 18% tax on GST on redevelopment of property. And when 2-3 years pass away, then they come to know that there is a huge liability with interest and penalty. And at that time, the dispute starts between the landowner and the builder or developer. So at that time, the property can be attached by the GST department, and all will come into trouble.
Correct.
So in your checklist, sir, I think this indirect taxation liability and NOC by the GST department or advocate or CA has to be taken into consideration.
Correct. That is for the building under construction.
Yeah. Second thing is that the 30-year search report is not enough nowadays, because I am in this landline for the last 35 years.
Okay.
So we take more than 50 years search report because many a times that is class 2 lands, that is Varga 2, etc. Because of that problem came, because the land should be Varga 1. And the previous times, the Raja Rajwade, due to some conditions of Inam and all that conditions, the mistakes have happened in the revenue department.
Correct.
And after 20, 30, 40 years, those mistakes we find out, and the current purchaser or the landowner comes into trouble. And that's why we suggest for minimum 50 years search report. So these are two suggestions, sir. Thank you.
Correct. I agree with you, sir, fully. But in city like Bombay, like to search beyond 30 years, one place that we go is we have to go to one ballot estate where there is one office. Then again, if it is beyond that also, we have to go to Vasai because the original records are like in Vasai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ullah. Thank you so much, Mr. Ullah, for your knowledge. Thank you so much for sharing the knowledge. Yeah, I can go with now Rupa Sethi sir. Kamlesh bhai, I will take you afterwards. Yeah. Rupa
So
Sethi.
it is regarding the car parking space provided by the builders. I want sir to throw some light on it, like how exactly it works. Like if suppose a society for 300 flats are providing only 100 or 150 car parking, so what should be done in that case?
Madam, if you look at the original plan, see per flat there is a parking allotments done by the BMC authority. Okay, rest is all open space. So it is between for a 400 to 600 square feet flat, there is one parking which is compulsory. So with the BMC plan, if you see, there is a specific column which specifies about the parking allotment. The builder, if he has got more, he generally sells whatever is the open space, he sells it as parking space. But actually that is illegal. Whatever is the parking allowed as per the BMC rules, only that can be given to the flat holders.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, Kamlesh Mehta ji, please.
गुड इवनिंग सर। सर मैंने 10 साल पहले प्रॉपर्टी खरीदा, लेकिन वो आज भी प्रॉपर्टी बना ही नहीं। बोलता है यहाँ का गवर्नमेंट का कुछ इश्यूज है नायगांव, और कुछ पानी का वो समुद्री पानी रहता है इसमें, तो बोलता है बिल्डिंग बनी है। तो क्या एक्शन लेना चाहिए मुझे?
सर सबसे अच्छा एक्शन होगा कि कंज्यूमर कोर्ट में जाओ, बाकी कोई रास्ता नहीं है।
क्या बोले सर?
कंज्यूमर कोर्ट होता है ना, उसी में एक्शन मिलता है, रिलीफ मिलता है। There are only two actions, either one is a civil action or one is a criminal action. क्योंकि वो बिल्डिंग सब रेरा में कवर्ड नहीं है। हाँ,
तो सर आप भी करते हो क्या?
हाँ हम लोग करते हैं, कंज्यूमर कोर्ट रेरा का सबका कंप्लेंट हम लोग करते हैं। हाँ,
Yeah, Kamlesh ji. Okay, acha. Sir, I want to ask you one more question. Like as you say that nomination form is there. Like suppose if legal heir is done. समझो एग्जांपल है कि हस्बैंड एक्सपायर हो गया, उसने खाली फॉर्म खाली भर के रखा है वाइफ के नाम पे, तो ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ नॉमिनेशन फॉर्म द सोसाइटी कैन नॉट ट्रांसफर द नेम दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रॉपर्टी इन द नेम ऑफ द वाइफ if the husband is left on the nomination form. No will or nothing
I
like
told
that.
you it can be transferred, but it only be a provisional membership.
Okay, provisional membership. So tomorrow the wife cannot able to sell the property unless.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll tell you in my case,
Yeah.
I and my mother were a joint owner of a property.
Okay.
So when my mother died, the society transferred, because it is joint ownership, they transferred, removed my mother's name and put my name as the sole owner of the flat. After 20 years, I approached some bank for some finance. Bank said, you should bring the certificate of all legal heirs, or a release deed from all the legal heirs, or a succession certificate of your mother for getting the transfer 100% under the Property Act, Transfer of Property Act.
Okay. So you mean to say the succession certificate is must if the property need to be transferred in the case of the legal heirs?
There are two options. Either you get a succession certificate, or you give an affidavit saying that these are the legal heirs and get a release deed from them.
Okay. Fine, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, if anybody wants to have a question, please.
Hey,
I want to have
Alok, 1 minute. Alok, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
In continuation, in continuation, Ramaswamy sir, See, I wanted to know whether the legal heir or the nominee, who has the right over.
See, the nominee is only a representative of the legal heirs.
Okay.
He holds
So-
the property in trust for the legal heirs till the property by a succession or by probate or by court order, it gets transferred in the name of the legal heir. He can be one of the legal heir also, the nominee.
Yeah. So it's not that once a nomination has been done that the property can transfer
The
without any.
Pradeep bhai, the
Uh,
nomination is as per the Societies Act.
Yeah.
What the society gives you is a share.
Okay.
And what the Property Act says is there cannot be no transfer of property unless it is by a registered document or by a court order.
Okay. Thank you.
You understood
Can
the
I-
difference?
Yeah.
Can I come in?
Yeah, Chetan. Yeah, Chetan,
Yeah.
come.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. This is Line Chetan Suchak. First, congratulations. You have covered very exhaustively all the aspects related to the property. It's one of the best sessions that I've ever attended for the past quite many years. Sir, my small question is that, a land acquired by a revenue authority for setting up a MIDC over 30 years back, and the property is still lying unutilized. I want to understand one, can MIDC make a change of user and reallocate this property to someone else for residential purpose?
So that depends on the government policy. And I'll not be able to comment on this because this MIDC, they have already acquired the land. So the land is already transferred in their name.
Okay.
Am I right?
Because, yeah, sir, I've taken an opinion from Secretary of UD and Revenue. So they were of the opinion, they can't make a change of user because it is being acquired for a certain purpose. And
Correct.
if it is not being utilized, that property for that purpose, then it has to be restored to the original farmer or owner.
Correct. See, there are certain case laws. This is all based on not on any legislation, but these are all case laws. Even in the DP plan, if there is a property which is earmarked for a reservation, and that particular reservation is not utilized by the local authority, then that land user, the landowner has the right to change the user of that particular land. From suppose it is a garden, he can bring it back to residential. So these are some of the laws, but they are rarely implemented because of the bureaucracy.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Sir, one more question from my side. Now these RERA the agreements are there. So it is compulsory for builder to complete the particular building in time, whatever it is typically in RERA.
See, he has to give a time schedule. He is bound to complete it within the time schedule. If he does not complete it, then he has to give the reasons. And he has to satisfy the flat owners why there is a delay. Even there is a system of compensating the flat owners if there is a delay in implementation of the project.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Rati Rani is there. Yeah, Rati, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Alok, sir. Yeah, good evening, sir. First of all, thank you so much for this session. I just had a query. Suppose there are row houses and generally the builders, the property is around about 20-30 years. And the row houses are in two agreements, one in the name of the husband and the other in the name of the wife. If the husband expires and the property, just like you said, is being transferred in the name of the wife. Now, if the wife makes a will for her children, so it will be only her part which can be transferred, or how this will work? And she has
Husband's property is different, or it's the same property in which
the same property, sir. Suppose it is a row house, the first floor is in the name of the husband. There are two different agreements.
okay.
And the husband expires, and now the society transfers this in the name of the wife. That is, the share certificate is also being transferred. Now, if the wife wants to, she has already made a will, and now that will, is it applicable only for her part or the entire property? Both the
It will be applicable only to her part.
okay, and the rest part, she will be like a part of it will be hers and rest to the kids. Am I
Correct. See, her husband's property, she is one of the legal heirs. So she, as per her will, she can only bequeath her portion of the husband's property.
Okay, but sir, the property is not separated, like it has to be sold as one. So how this,
I agree, but you already made two agreements which are registered. Now
right,
you can't change the structure of that agreement.
right, okay. Okay, so only her part and the part which has that she, if she has a will, can be transferred to any
Yeah,
child.
her share in the husband's property.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Really appreciate. Thanks.
Thank you, Ati. Sir, one more question. Suppose in the case of transfer after the dies of the after the joint owner dies, then will be suffice for that if somebody is made a will.
The will is not sufficient. It has to be probate.
The probate is the most important part.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. Any questions anybody has? Please, free to ask. Before I proceed and give to my district governor hand, I just recognize the presence of 4-5 people over here. Mangal Sheth is the BJP spokesperson and the media person. Thank you, Mangalji, for being with us. Lion Hanuman Rao Sangam from Mumbai Allied. Thank you, Hanuman Rai. Kuldeep Bhai from the line of Mumbai Walkeshwar. Thank you, sir. Vinesh, Hemant, and all of us who are together with us for this particular program. Yeah, from Happy MS, my friend Pradeep Kaparia and Pranav Kaparia, and also our 2-3 people from outstation, Bhavan Idris, Narendra Sonawne. Thank you so much for presenting this particular webinar. Now, sir, I would request our chief guest, Lion Sanjay Turi, sir, please give your remarks, sir.
Hello, good evening to everyone.
Yes, sir, good evening.
And as usual, thanks a lot, Alok. One more session, very informative. That this is 24th webinar. I'm really glad that Lions Club of Walkeshwar, Mumbai Corporate, that Foundation of Skill Development, and Vidharba Tax Practitioner Association, together you organize this webinar, and continuously you're organizing this. Our international president, Brian Shan, he has given this call, and that together we can and we will. And that is what he is expecting, that we must have projects or meetings with other NGOs. And that is what a great thing you are doing. And I should appreciate the way you're working continuously each and every month, minimum 2-3 webinars continuously on subject which are required to be known to common man. I have learned and got a lot of information. My video was not on because I was just taking down all those notes. The kind of information Ramaswamy ji has given, I'm really grateful to him. I have got my own property, so I was more keen interested because we are going for redevelopment of these properties, and that is what that is required. We common man always think of what is this FSI, the way they talk about and calculate, that we don't understand it. That built up, super built up, now RERA, FSI, so many different kind, then loading by builders. So it is confusing for a common man when he purchases any flat. So I wanted to know a little bit from Ramaswamy ji how that area is calculated and fungible FSI they are talking about. So that clarification I would like to get after this my submission. That please do this kind of webinars continuously. I already requested you few other subjects which are related to Lions, particularly charity and that GST, that I would like to have that kind of webinar in future. Thanks a lot once again, Ramaswamy ji and Alok and all associations together. Thanks a lot. God bless.
Thank you, sir. We are working on the charity webinar and all for the Lion member. And before our PDG Pradeep Kaparia will going to say something for our concluding remarks. Always in our webinar, I always give chance to Pradeep Bhai. we are holding one more webinar on 18th May. Please note that. And that is the topic on the health. How to reverse the diabetes, BP, thyroid, cardiology problem. And we have our own Lion Sushil Mehta from Chhattisgarh. He's going to talk on this subject. I would request, please do not skip this webinar, because we have heard him. And really, I'm telling you, it's a person who can motivate you that remove your BP medicine and thyroid and how to avoid all these things. So please, this is one of the important webinar. When we circulate the message, I think please spread to across the people. It is useful to the women also, female also, and male also. So 18 May ko hai 4:30 to 6 o'clock. The flyer will come after 2 days, and that's the health program. The first time we are doing the health education. We done the education on the academic front, but we are doing first time the health education, and that's the main important part is there. So और ये webinar जो है वापस हिंदी में ही होगा, and I'm requesting you, please do not skip this webinar. ये आपके health के लिए है, and the person is very wonderful. Our whole line member is there. So अगर आपने miss किया, probably I will not give the recording of that webinar. I'm telling you, I want the attendance of the full person of that. Okay. I also welcome the Mangal Seth. He's a BJP spokesperson and a very interesting person. And thank you, Mangalji, for being with us. And now I hand over the charge again to our home club and our own member.
Hello.
Hello,
I have
Ramaswamy.
two questions of Sanjay I
Yeah.
want to answer.
Yeah. Please.
Sanjay ji, you asked about the area. See, when I talk nowadays, the concept is you can use only carpet area. So, see, when I say carpet area, there are two carpet areas. One is the carpet area where you can lay your carpet in your flat. That is the actual carpet area. And second is the RERA carpet area.
RERA carpet.
The RERA carpet is the outer area which is covering your flat, which includes the internal walls.
Okay.
Internal walls are covered under RERA carpet area. Not the external walls, but the internal.
Carpet area will reduce actual.
It will reduce the RERA carpet area is bigger than the actual carpet area. Yeah, usable carpet area.
Oh.
And third thing you asked about built up and super built up. Whatever you get in the built up is the total FSI that is used in the construction of a building. So whenever you say FSI and the carpet, there is a difference of 12 to 15%, depending upon the type of the construction. So when you have got FSI 100, that means the built up is 100. That means your carpet area will be something between 85 to 88%.
Okay.
And RERA carpet, again, it will change according to that.
And what is that builder talk about loading?
Super built up and all that is gone now. There is nothing like super built up. Earlier क्या करते थे builder लोग जो terrace का भी area count करते थे, नीचे टाकी का भी area count करते थे, and everything whatever was constructed or buildable. See what happens when a builder constructs a building, he is charged by the contractor for all the areas that he constructs.
Okay.
वो terrace में finishing किया था तो उसका भी charge लगाता था. तो builder वो भी area flat में add करता था. अभी वो सब system चला गया है. Now there is only RERA carpet and real actual usable carpet.
Oh,
yeah,
that's great. So, thanks a lot for clarifying.
About something about spongy. Some Sanjay Suri has asked about.
Fungible.
हाँ, fungible.
Fungible क्या था संजय जी? Fungible पहले क्या था कि हम लोग जो बालकनी रहता था, ये जो एक्स्ट्रा एरियाज जो होते थे ना, जैसे स्टेयरकेस था, फिर लॉबीज थे, that were all free of FSI. Earlier times when you used to construct a building, certain areas were free of FSI. Now government has removed whatever is free. Everything is included. That is included in fungible. That is 35% of the FSI that is consumed. You get 35% as fungible area, or you have to pay for a premium for that. You have to pay premium for fungible and get it. In commercial, it is 25%.
Pay premium, but what are the rates for that area wise? That if that
it is based on the ready reckoner rates.
Rate at suburb will be different.
It depends on the ready reckoner rate. Ready reckoner rate of that particular.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, Pradeep Bhai Kaparia, Lion Pradeep Kaparia, please. Your views.
Thank you, Alok, for this excellent opportunity. Let me tell you, I have only 3 words to explain. It is just excellent, and excellent. What can you say about Ramaswamy? My God, the seamless, it was that flow which was the way he was explaining, and to everything you can understand in a common man's language. And I'm so happy that yes, he is a very busy man. Let me tell you, he has spared a time for us. We are really grateful to you, Ramaswamy. Yeah, at our time when we were 3 colleague governors, this was the first time in the district, and all the 3 were chartered accountants. Except me, both of them were very learned people. So Alok sir, you can call Joban Putra Saab for charity commissioner and charity and all that. And Ramaswamy.
And
So
Pradeep Bhai
I'm
for
so
GST
happy.
and
Yes,
Seshan.
Ramaswamy, this thing was really would be. And so that is our combination. We can make a great combination, Ramaswamy, that we can think over it. That's fine.
Correct.
But see, what was more important, the things that you have imparted, I would think that would be of immense help to people, because many of the people are not understanding. The builders used to give some words which were not, you cannot understand, and thereby many of them, I think, redevelopment properties which are still pending in many of the cases, and people are suffering. So I think you said about the consumer court and all that. So I'm really grateful, Ramaswamy sir, for sparing your valuable time. And what can I talk about my president, Alok? He brings out everything which is there. Now from education, he's going to health and all that. And I don't know what would be his another step. He always thinks out of the box, and he gives something different every time. And I think, Alok, this is what your 43rd webinar, if I am not mistaken.
23rd, 25th webinar.
23rd webinar, yeah. But the projects are more than that, what he has done during his tenure. So excellent. Keep it up, Alok. You are making us also proud. We really feel proud. And when I hear Ramaswamy and when I will hear Joban Putra, I would be more proud. So let's have this 3 people together. We will have a lovely webinars. So thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to all the participants who had joined this webinar. I think Rati also we met after a long, I heard her voice after a long time. And Pranav is also there.
Pranav was there.
Thank you.
I would have come on the video, but I apologize if not will be. But thank you so much, Pradeep sir, for remembering. I'll surely be in touch, and it was a pleasure that, coming to this particular webinar, and excellent speaker. So I'm really very happy, and will surely join once again. We had on 18th, I have just one issues. I mean, if Alok sir takes it into consideration, it's just because it's like 4:30 and all becomes a little difficult for us. If it is little late in the evening, so we can surely join. So surely we'll see to it that we are joining every now and then. And thanks a lot to the entire team for such good, projects, or you can say sessions being taken for the fraternity. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Yeah, PP Divanji sir is the head. Dr. PP Divanji sir. Sir, if you want to say something, Divanji ji. Okay, I think it's no. So okay, so I think lastly, Ramaswamy ji, thank you so much once again. I think I can say in all our webinars, I think one of the good webinar, I think one of the best webinar I can say today. One of the best, because you explain what Pradeep bhai endorse. I endorse the full way of Pradeep bhai. इतना simple तरीके से समझाया है आपने कि क्या करते हैं property लेने के लिए. So it was really wonderful.
Absolute.
Yeah, it's very nice, and as what you said, Joban Putra sir and everybody try. I think we'll try to make a try together. So that we can.
Try होगा due है अभी. Try होगा due.
Try कर देंगे sir. We will. You think we will implement? I told my DG sir, आप लोग think कीजिए, हम उसके ऊपर implement कर देंगे. And I also thank to the VTPA, Vidharba TPA Association, sir. Vidharba TPA Association, they are always with us from all webinar, and they are covering entire Maharashtra. Ajit Golkanji, thank you so much. Thank you, Jagdish Sharma, the president of the VTPA. They are also with us in the next webinar also, now health. So the whole CA fraternity and this, professional, they are working for the health also. And we are forced to make you in health also now. Yeah, आपने academic बहुत सीखा है, पर पहले health का भी ध्यान रखिए. And I thankful to the Hiral Shah Foundation for Skill Development. They are always together with us. And also my joint secretary, Dilip Nathani, who are the host for every webinar. So thank you, Dilip, for a wonderful time. Thanks to all of you who are doing with us. And of course, the team Walkeshwar, I think, fantastic team I got, sir. And whatever I could do, And because of my team, that's Vinesh, Hemant, Kuldeep Bhai, Pradeep Bhai, Mukesh Thakkar, and they all are together, and they are, whatever the messages we are giving, they are putting that message in a flyer to all the people and all. And thank you so much to all that support they are given to us because of the support. And lastly, special thanks to my DG.
Alok.
Yeah. Lastly,
Alok, Divanji sir wants to talk about. Divanji sir has raised that.
No, that is why I told her, I asked him, but he's not responding, sir. He's not responding. Divanji ji?
Now he has raised the hand.
No, he already raised the hand. पहले भी raise किया था, और अभी तक.
Yeah, might be out of some error, sir.
Maybe by
might out. Okay. And lastly, I think I can thanks to my DG sir, Sanjay Puri ji. Every time he keep on, what you can say, motivating us. कोई भी lecture है तो तुरंत he's very motivating us, and thank you DG sir. I think first time in Lion International, but I was very happy to work DG like you, under you, that that we can do much better and all. We have Pradeep Kaparia, our past district governor, but sir, you are also a person who has taken around and keep motivating us and all. And in fact, we are going to even for webinar of the Lions, what you can say, charity. Our DG sir is already taking the appointment of the charity commissioner. He himself spoke to charity commissioner. And somewhere we are planning to bring charity commissioner also the Lion, so that we can come to know the many compliance of the Lion International. So thank you so much once again to all of you. Thanks to Hemant for the Sindhudur. Thanks to Kuldeep Bhai. Thanks to all people. I think, sir, Ramaswamy sir, one thing I want to tell you, that the people are coming over here, entire Maharashtra, entire India. So keep listening and all. And that is the way we are bringing people together. And again, I appeal to all of you who are not the Lion member. आप अपने डिस्ट्रिक्ट में कहाँ भी आपके कम्युनिटी में लायन मेंबर है, तो लायन क्लब है, तो प्लीज ज्वाइन कीजिए एंड कम विद अस. Lionism is a part of your should be a project and all. Thank you so much to once again all of you. So sir, we are ending the session.
So Alok sir, Vice Governor's Mummy Lily Mistry is also with us.
Yeah. Lily sir, if she wants to say something, please, I can open for her. Yeah. Lily ma'am. Lily Mistry ji, if you want to say something, please. No,
even Virab would be there with Mummy.
Yeah, I don't know. Vidharba is not there.
Maybe.
No problem.
That's okay. That's okay,
fine. And I also recognize Bhagwan sir, Iblis Bhagwan sir from Solapur. He's also there. He also continuously every time he's always there with us for the.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Lily Mistry here. Thank you, Pradeep Bhai. Thank you, Alok Bhai, for everything. And the seminar was just excellent. In fact, I was very interested in the nomination part of it, and I got real clearance from Ramaswamy. Excellent speaker. Thank you very much. Such webinars will always be appreciated. And I'm very happy that now you're covering health also. It is an important issue also. Thanks a million.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Okay, sir, we are ending the webinar. We are ending the shooting, and thank you so much once again. Thanks,